Hello, and welcome to everyone joining us here for week number 13 of FlutterFlow Live with my good friend Dimitar. While Dimitar says his little hellos, I am going to check that we're actually streaming, given what happened a few weeks ago when we didn't for like 12 minutes. But
Yeah.
say hello, Dimitar.
Hello everyone. Because we don't have an update today, and actually, we were actually waiting to drop this today, but apparently they didn't drop it for some reason. Maybe it was me complaining about some stuffs, and they wanted to check it, or maybe they just do it something else. But the thing is that they already published that. I just want to briefly say that the infinity scroll for the API calls is coming, because I was waiting for that actually for months, like since they launched this for the Firebase, and I was waiting for that. I was actually wanted to do this myself, but they just done it before me. And then something else that you are guys that you want to actually wait for it, and it's coming really soon, is the really advanced conditional statements. So they are not saying what they did, because apparently FlutterFlow team that say that they want to say themselves. But yeah, it's going to be really good, and we tested it and it's working.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's
so
pretty powerful.
so
I have to
those are
say.
the two things that we really expect, and there's some small features as well that are really cool, and they are coming in the today or the coming days. And I wanted to talk, actually, if you allow me, Josh, I wanted to talk about three things that I found recently digging inside FlutterFlow. Like recently, I used like in the last 7 days or something like that, I used FlutterFlow every day. So I found three things that I want to share, actually. So I will try to share my screen first and see what will happen.
Yeah.
So yes, so
With
I
this
will
new view,
try
I
to.
have a feeling it's going to be 3 screens. That's what my guess is. I think
Yeah,
it's going to make us. Let's try.
let me see. I don't see.
Playing
Probably.
around with new settings. Ooh,
Okay,
that looks
nice.
bigger, no? That makes
Yeah,
us smaller. That's good. I like that.
yeah.
Hopefully that.
So I wanted to talk about one thing. It's my application. It's I last time I said that I'm a Newcastle fan, and I did that application about the Newcastle. But this is not important. The most important part here that I want to show, actually, this is Bulgarian, but don't pay attention to this part here. So there is a very basic shop that I did, and the data that I'm getting. So if I go over here, because normally when you get the data, because I'm using an API calls, but I think you have to say, Josh, if that's the same for FlutterFlow. But I think when you have some list of array of documents, this is the way to fill the list view, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
So
you
instead of
query
an
it and you
API
do a
call, you just do this,
do
right?
query
Query
collection. Exactly.
collection.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you go to then you go generate a dynamic children, and then you write something. In this case, it's an item, and
Hmm.
then you have an access to all items. So in my case, I have a array coming to the JSON from the JSON array, and every item is a JSON. So that's why I have this dollar sign here. And then when I go, the part that I wanted to share, that I don't know if that all the people know about this, but it's actually this page over here, which is a item shop item. It's actually using the same. You can see that it's using the same image and some of the same data, but actually it's like extended version of the version that you have, the items that you have over
Hmm.
here. So you have like description and some more information that you cannot see in
Yeah.
the shop, which is normal thing. And this data, actually, I'm getting it from the. So if I go to shop item, and if I
Hmm.
go to parameter, and I have this item, and I'm getting the
Hmm.
type as a JSON. So
Hmm.
in the end of the day, what I'm showing this is because last time when I did something like that, I actually passed the ID of the item, and then I made another request to actually to the server to actually get all the details of the items. But you can, this is the one way to do it, and the other way is to actually just push all the data or send all the data to the other page using a JSON. So I don't know if you actually, Josh, did that, or it's useful in FlutterFlow world. But you're just, yeah.
I have a question about it though, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, because definitely the passing of data is, something that, is pretty, I guess, standard. There are some weird situations though, whereby if you, whether it's passing it into a bottom sheet or passing from one page to the next, where that data doesn't get updated if it's being passed, which is fine on a screen like this, where it's just like static data. But it does mean for some certain things, it's something to be aware of. Like, for instance, if you're trying to update a user's profile picture and stuff like that, it can be an issue. So often for me, I often just do it as I go, exactly like you were saying. I go and get the data inside of a component, inside of a bottom sheet, inside of the page that I'm going to, just to kind of be safe side. I know it's doing twice as many queries in some ways. But just because a lot of the data I use in a lot of my apps is real time and changing, so that's one thing. But how do you actually structure that JSON when you're moving it, when you're doing the navigate? Because I've actually not sure I've ever done that. Is that with a custom function then? So when you do the first page,
there is no custom functions. There is only an API call, which I'm not sure if I want to show because there's some data in it. But there is a simple API call that is actually resulting in an array of JSONs. So you can imagine it like one JSON is the name of the item, the picture of the item, then the description, and so on and so forth. And then I'm just listing that over here, and then I'm passing this. So when you click something, so maybe this is important. Maybe this is the most important.
Yeah, that was what I was looking for. Yeah, the action.
So I have this row, which is actually when you click on the whole row, and when you go to the action page, and you have this navigate to and wherever page you want to navigate to, and then the parameters is actually the item, and the item is my JSON. So here is actually the most important part, is that I'm actually because I'm using my own server and because I'm programming it myself, I can actually get the same object that I have and put it inside JSON, like I can say JSON and then put the same object again. So basically I have this one object, and then inside this object I have the same object twice. And because of that, I can actually transfer this to another page and say this here. I don't know if you can see it, but I can say this.
What you mean.
Yes, door.json, and inside this door.json, you have the same object actually.
And otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do that?
Yes, otherwise you cannot do it.
So if you just get the information from an API, you can't pass that information except as individual values, I guess, right?
Not that I know. Not that I know, and I don't know if I don't know other way to do it. Maybe there is another way.
Could you not create it essentially? Could you not do it? That was kind of what I thought you were going to show. I thought that you in here had a custom function that would essentially repackage the data and move it over again to the next stage.
I don't use a custom function.
Yeah, no, I know this is simpler. This is cool. It just obviously requires you to have your data structured in the right way, like in the way that you do. But yeah, this is cool. I like this. This is a nice tool.
Yeah, and then the second thing that I wanted to show, which is I didn't saw that before that, maybe it's not new, but it's very good that they have this icon pop up. So when you have in the action, for example, and you can see navigate to, and you can see where it's navigating to, which is very cool, I think, because I didn't saw that before. And it's the same for example, when you have an API call or a Firebase request, and you can see actually what is getting back. Like in this case, get shop item. You get shop items. So this is cool as well. And the last thing that I want to show actually and want to share is about the application, the FF preview. I don't know if you remember, we talked about this when they
Yeah, I
launched
used it like the first week. I haven't used it since then.
Yeah, so basically in this app here, I had actually this, as I said, this shop and this items. And when you click this button, it's actually buy something. So I'm using a simple stripe. So I'm using this simple stripe and action, and I'm just putting the price and so on and so forth. But actually, when you try to test this in the run mode or the test mode, you cannot test it because you need an actual device, and you need to test it from the APK. So we're just wondering if you can actually use the app, this FF preview. You can use the app and just test it from there. Because if you can actually do this, you don't need to download the API. But unfortunately, because we were actually wondering about that the last time we spoke about that. I don't know if you remember that. But unfortunately, no, the answer is no. You cannot actually test, for example, if you have a Stripe or some other things that are only testable inside the device. You cannot use the FlutterFlow preview in order to do this. So the FlutterFlow preview is actually the same as the run mode, because we were wondering about that. So I just
Oh, it
wanted to
is.
be clear, yes, about
That's
that.
very cool. That's very cool. By the way, we've had a question
Yeah.
from Abhishek, one of our regulars, about if we can show how you refresh the page after a custom action using callback trick. Obviously, our kind of focus today, we really want to do a deep dive on ROI. However, our new kind of structure we're looking to do is that we will be answering one of these questions. And I think this one would be a good one for you to answer. The only thing is, do you have, Dimitar, do you have a widget that we would be able to do it with really quickly, where we would be guaranteed it would work?
Maybe you
Do you
can
have
show
something
it
prepared?
if you think you'll be
I don't
faster than
have
me.
one like prepared right now
Okay.
to do it.
Do you think?
If
Do you think because I have this one, which is I think this local state, and do you think this will work? Because I have
oh, it's just
this
like the super simple one, right?
I have this prepared for the editing local state from a custom widget. I don't know if
I
this
see Aragon.
will
Let's see. Okay, we
using
will.
the action one.
Or if any viewer happens to have a project that you would like us to try this on and you want to share it with us, you could do that too. But because is that working? I don't remember what that is, to be honest, buddy. My memory is like a goldfish.
Yeah.
But that looks like it could be
No, the
something we
thing,
could work
is
with.
that this is actually the code that I wrote for um, changing the returning something from a custom
Yeah.
widget. So I don't know
Okay.
if this is actually answering the
Yeah.
question.
This is essentially, if I've understood correctly, it's when you are inside of a custom widget, you've got something changing, and
Yeah,
you want to be returning that change to the outside world in order that the page refreshes.
yeah,
So what you need to have it passed into here as well is the action, which is what you have, right? The callback action.
yeah, exactly.
So do you want to just go through this now really quickly while we have it, or do you
Yeah,
want to,
sure. Yeah,
since we
sure.
have
So
it in front of
if
you?
yeah, so if this is the case, it's just really simple. This is just a really simple custom widget just to show that you can do this in reality. So it's just you need the first thing you need is action. So there is a new data type
Mhm.
when you have a parameters in a custom widgets, which is an action. So you need to use an action, and then when you have this action, or whatever name the parameter you want to be, then you actually can use this action with widget dot and then the name of the action and then call, and then you have for example here I have a button which is when it's pressed will actually change the local state. So I have a local state over here, and it's called this local state. It's a name. Call it name, and then the default value is John. But when you actually click on this button inside the custom widget, this button, this text is actually changed And I can actually, I think I can show this real quick. I don't know how quickly it will load, but I think it's already loaded. So I think if I just load it over here, I can just show it.
I've tried to type the code in to the chat, you guys, just in case. I think it looks. I think I got enough parentheses, but just so you, in case you can't see exactly what's on Dimitar's screen, that's the thing that has essentially been missing, or that hasn't been made clear, and I think people are struggling with, is that setup of doing this one line of code essentially that will call back whatever you set up in your action from the outside of the widget. It will make that run. And so that could be anything you want. It can be to update a local state. And if you update the local state on the outside with this, it will then work as it normally would.
Yeah, so I had this, as I said, I have this name, which is John as a default value, but then I have an onload action, which is actually changing this onload page. So you can see here onload page. And when I click the normal button, you can see I change the local state to the local state text to updated from the normal button. And when I click the widget button, which is coming from the custom widget, this button is actually coming from a custom widget. It's not a normal button. And then it says value from a custom change from a custom action. So this is actually proving that this is done. So it's changing in real time.
Tim, I hope that answers the question out there. Maybe Dimitar, we can work this up into something we can put, like I did with the image gallery, on our little Flexperts content feed. This little example, because obviously this doesn't go in the marketplace. It's not it's not unique. It's not unique, right? So we'll try to put that on our little Flexperts feed thing, so that you can see the full code. If you don't have to try to like pause the screen recording and catch it. Cool. Sorry, that was a little bit of interruption. I think you had one more gem to share, no, Dimitar?
No, that's all. The three of them.
Well, I have two much less shiny gems to share, but rather than share my screen, could I just ask you to do it? Which is, one of them is me feeling a little bit stupid. I didn't understand why that one day I no longer had a pages icon on my left-hand menu bar. So where you see, home, new page, widget tree, right?
Over here, right?
Yeah, but to the very left, the left of that, right? Okay, so you got all those, exactly. So I used to have 3 icons at the top. Now I only had 2. I figured they were playing around with some new update, right? Then it came back. And then 2 days ago, it disappeared. And I was sad because I like having them separate. What I realized is that I'm an idiot, and it's just related to whether I'm zoomed into my web browser or not. So if you try to zoom out right now, if you're in Chrome, or sorry, I think you have to zoom in. My bad. The other way, zoom in. At some point, this will switch. Okay, that's, to quote you, that's very strange. It's that should work, because I will show you on mine then. Because it definitely works. And just in case anyone else made this mistake, so I have 2 here. And this is because you have this split view, you have this split view of the widget tree. And I think what it is this shows on bigger screen. Oh, you're currently editing this page. And if I zoom in, now I can't replicate it. I can't replicate my bug. But am I going crazy? I thought I was all proud of this. But
maybe they changed something. I don't know.
I don't know. I did that. Yeah, because I actually fit it. I did a request to ask them to bring that feature back. Maybe they listened to me. I don't know. But because I really like having these 2 buttons. I don't know what other people think, but I don't like. It's nice sometimes, but I find it a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, I think it's the best way. If you can prefer, if there is a setting or something like that, I think this would be the best way.
Exactly. The third thing, the other kind of little gem was, did you see my my comment on your Slack thing about when you couldn't set it from specific value?
No, because that was, you commented like 10 minutes ago, right? Or something.
Okay. The trick there is that you can do it with combined text.
Okay.
If you
Okay.
ever can't set, if you can't set something as a, if you can't set something as a specific value for whatever reasons, and it
Can you
just
just
comes up a
show?
few times. Yeah,
Can
sorry.
you just show it or
Yeah, of course, yeah.
like the?
I can do it in here now. I don't know why your project
Yeah.
was gray screen of death thing, by the way. But
Because it was from another version of
oh,
FlutterFlow.
okay. Oh,
But I think if you go down, the last page, if you just open the last page, I think it's demo.
demo.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then you can.
so I can break this page basically.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say we wanted to just have some whatever random. We got some random text field here, and let's put it in a row so it's in the bigger. Add a little padding, and yeah. So I want to set this hello world here. I want to set this. Let's say we have some query or something. Now in this case, obviously, what normally happens is you get to. Is there a query? What query can I do, Dimitar, to get like a document?
Yeah, the thing is, I think I tried. Let me see.
I just can't think of an example where what you had happen, which we can't show, would happen. But I'll just pretend. So I've done a query on my column. I want to set this to be, let's say, the user's name. Yeah. The standard way this works for most things in FlutterFlow is that you would select the value.
When you have a local state of JSON data type, I think this is so you can just copy and paste some random JSON data type and
okay.
or without any JSON data. Yeah, just make it not string but JSON.
Yeah.
And
so
then
like this, right?
and then you can try from this one. Just try, just try from this one without any JSON. Yeah, just try with this one
so I can set this from local state, right?
Yes, exactly.
So what we should think would happen normally is we get a choice of like specific values or variables, right? Set it from variables. So what I want to do here is set from local state, and then you're saying this will break. No?
Yes, I think so.
JSON path.
Yes.
And then what? Like I do like name or something, yeah?
Yeah.
And then what was happening? It was breaking here, yeah?
It's no, it was not allowing me to choose, but you have to use a condition, sorry. Not like that, but you have to use a condition in order
like a conditional, like if I did it here then.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
so if I do it here and I select then local state.
Yes.
And then the JSON data.
Yes.
What you say, JSON path, I guess.
Yeah.
And then it wouldn't let you set this to?
Yes. To a specific value.
See, here you go, from variable. So very nicely done. So in this instance, if you look, so it doesn't really matter what the actual JSON data is. The point is that in this menu type, for some reason, whether it's a bug or deliberate, I've seen it a few times in different places, you don't have from specific value. Which I really hope works now because my first one was not my first gem was not much of a success. And yeah, so wow. This is why the show should be called Code and Codeless. I swear I've done that before, but maybe not. So then you just use a.
No, I think no. Do you know where is the problem? I think the problem is getting from the, I don't know why, but the custom, the conditional value visibility and set from variable, they're using the condition. They're using, I think, different things. I think the code is not the same, and that's why you're getting from one of it. I think so. That's why you're getting from valuable and set what was the other name, specific value. So you don't have, so normally what you have is you have from variable and then you have a drop down and you can choose specific value, right? This is a normal thing.
Oh, but isn't it because you can't compare a JSON to a string, right? But what, so that's what it is.
No, but basically this is a string. I mean, basically this will return a string. In reality, this will return a string. That name will return a string.
Yeah, but it doesn't know that, so it doesn't allow the string comparison. We've gone way off topic, by the way. This is supposed to be about Rowie. We're halfway in, and we haven't even touched on it yet. So, but I think we'll return to this one. But I have a feeling that's what JSON. No further changes. Do that. All right, let's get to our main topic today. Yeah. We will leave this this little bug to we'll argue about this later. So the main topic.
Leave me to share my screen, isn't it? So you can just guide me through.
Exactly. So I am going to guide Dimitar here, who is not normally using so often.
At all, actually.
Let me stop streaming. Yeah, is not using Firebase very much. She is a much smarter person than me, using MySQL and whatnot. And what we're going to be talking today about is a no-code tool that you can use that works amazing pairing with FlutterFlow. And it's built right on Google Cloud and Google Firebase. The product, can you actually pull it up on a website? Is that okay?
Yeah, I was just. Okay, so let me put that.
I just want to introduce to what we're actually talking about, and then we'll dive into the setup.
It's not that.
Rowie.io. So you've probably heard me mention this before if you've watched any of the shows. This is Rowie.io. We'll get into the actual how of setting it up. But essentially what it is, if you've ever used Airtable, if you've ever used any kind of like spreadsheet type interface or graphical user base, it provides, wow, that was flashy. It provides you like a spreadsheet looking UI for accessing your Firebase data. And this website has changed a lot and is looking pretty snazzy. It's doing a better job of explaining what it is. So on the one hand, it's good if you want to just access your data. I use it a lot when we're doing test data in Firebase. It's much nicer than using the console. There's also other tools like FireFoo or whatever. It's a few others that people use. But for me, this one is just the simplest to actually play around with test data and do things. Has a lot of cool things for like importing. We'll get into all that in a little bit. The main thing that we teased you here with was obviously cloud functions, and I just want to touch on what that is, and then we'll get into the setup of how you can do those because cloud functions are not natively supported with FlutterFlow right now. So a cloud function is essentially like your action chains, any action chain that you have on a button, those sorts of things. The difference is that they're not run on button press and they're not stored in your app directly. They are stored in Firebase. And the reason you might want to use those is because they have triggers and they can have further conditional logic. So you can essentially trigger a function, not just as in your app, a button press or page load, but you can actually trigger them to run every 15 minutes. You can trigger them to run every time a new user document is created. You can have a series of what you would normally do, actions, run and do whatever you want. So maybe a new user is created, and then you also create him a wallet, or you also create him a friends list document, or maybe you want to have something like that your user automatically goes offline after a certain time of the day. So none of those things really would be possible in FlutterFlow, even with the kind of custom widgets and stuff. But cloud functions just run day in and night out. They don't take a break. They don't have a union. They just go, go, go. And they're highly reliable, highly scalable, and they work basically in real time. So that's the big draw. And since FlutterFlow doesn't have it, but Rowie is a great way to implement it without really having to know how to code or how to set up all this stuff, I'm going to walk Dimitar, who essentially, despite knowing how to code, does not know how to do this. And we're going to walk, we've got a blank project. Do you want to explain what you've set up here?
Yeah, so we'll try with one cloud function for now. If we have the time, I think we'll do the second one. But what we are going to do today is that when I register a new user in my application, I want to increase the number to one more number, right? I want to add one more number. So if I have a total of 10 users, when I register a new user, I want to make it 11. Is that possible? Do you think we can do this today?
Yeah. Josh? So you want every new user, we're going to update that counter. Yeah, exactly. That's the goal.
So do you want me to share first my Firebase cloud?
Exactly. Can you share your actual the Firebase in FlutterFlow? Can you show me your collections? Can we start there just so we see what you have? I think it's always from what we've been told. I think people kind of like to see how some of the data is structured. So we'll just start from there, and then we'll go through the actual setting up of Rowie. So
so if I go over here and then I go to not Firebase, firestore. And I had
have a
this
users collection.
users, exactly.
You have a users collection, great. And so in my school world, this would be something else. And essentially what you want to have is a cloud function that will keep track of every time a new user is created. It's going to add one to another type of document, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say we need I always call it FS underscore counters, firestore counters. And I just kind of keep FS underscore counters, exactly. So this is a collection that I often make in my projects. You could just put like a created time. We won't need it, but
time.
underscore time, exactly, which is a
This
timestamp.
would be a timestamp, okay. It's not a list, right?
And then I normally always do it. I'm just going to do, I do this the same for every collection. So I do user, which is a document reference.
User document
Reference to your users collection.
Users, okay.
It's like you with the formatting. It looks wrong for me if it doesn't have all this stuff. And then the third one is UID,
UID.
which is a string value. The reason I save both of them is just because sometimes the string values are a little bit easier to work with in some places than a document reference, but they're kind of the same thing. Anyway, I didn't tell you to do that. No.
And then we need to have a total, right? Or
no, we need a name first, because actually what this collection is going to store, this collection, if you were going to be using it in reality, you would be having one document for each counter that you're keeping track of. So the name of the counter here would be total users in our database. And then you're right. Then we will have an integer. Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
No, the name is a string. My bad. The name is a string. It's going to be the name of the counter, and then the total.
So we have a name, which is a string.
Yep, which is a string.
And then we have a total, which
and then we have I always call it just value. So the idea here is I'm setting up a very flexible, you could create loads of these documents for any type of counter you wanted just by giving it a different name, and then you can store any kind of value in there. So can you just call it value?
Okay, sure. Value. So value will be the total number, right?
Yeah, exactly. So in this case, it's going to be a total number. But what this means in this collection is that you could have many of these documents. One of them could be called, the name would be total users, and you're going to keep the number of total users in there, right? Which is a total. But you might also have one that's new users in the past 30 days. So the name of the counter would be new users, and the value would be however many there were in 30 days. And those will keep updating.
That is more advanced than I was thinking of. So.
I don't know. It's just how I always do it. I always do it with this FS counters. I'm sorry, I can't multitask. Someone has asked, can they see it later? Yes, you can. All of these videos are recorded and available on our YouTube.
And also, I think the project will be it's public shared. So I will post a link to the project that we do right now. So I think everything will be visible after that.
Yeah, I think we'll. That one might not be till tomorrow because we'll have to put it in a nice little format. Put some pizzazz.
Do I need to do this the same way in Firestore?
So you used to have to, for those of you who are old school FlutterFlowers, you used to have to create collections in Firestore. You do not seem to have to do this anymore. I kind of often do it just for the sake of habit. So let's do that just to show people the other side of the interface. So if you go into the actual Cloud Console, because you're going to need to open in a minute anyway. If you open up your Cloud Console, for those of you who are never looking at this for the first time, this is your Cloud Console. All of your collections are here. It's a little bit ugly, but it's very effective. It's where you get your data. So if you create a new collection called the FS counters, what Dimitar was asking me was, do these have to match what we set up in FlutterFlow? This used to be super important. I always do it just kind of by default. If you do auto ID, and then that's it. That's all you need. You can just save it.
Okay, great.
Oh, I mean, you can create that document if you wanted to.
But... No, I don't
okay, but we're going to do this step by step my way this time. It's my format. But
let me just show you before that, because if the register is working, right? So I just want to check that as well. So let me just register one user. So
okay, the authentication, yeah. Okay.
Wait a second. So I need to go over here
to your run mode,
and then I register just one user. And I'll just call it like demo123 because this is my favorite email. And then the password Would be very secret password, and then I'll register. And yeah, just give me some sample page. So it's just returning some sample page. So if I go to
Console,
Firestore
yeah.
right now, I should be able to see my newly registered
You
user,
should
right?
indeed.
So
you should
is
be able
this
to see
one?
it there. Yep, perfect.
Okay,
And
so
you
it's
can
working.
and you can delete. Is the other one also a user, or is that an empty document?
It's also a user. I just created
Okay, cool.
before
No, that's
that.
perfect. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then, cool. And then in your authentication. Okay, so let's go through and set up Roy real quick, and we'll do a quick little tour of that, and then we'll build this cloud
Oops,
function.
why
Cool.
I'm just opening that?
I don't know why. You really want to go on holiday, it seems like. I'm sorry, I'm so boring you. So yeah, if we open up Rowie.io, by the way, is, before people ask, free to use as of now. It is just going to be, it's entirely based on Firebase. So as Dimitar, he jumped into the get started button. And I can't see because I'm blind, but I see create workspace. So let's press that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Create workspace. Yeah.
Cool. What you're being asked for here is you can give your workspace any name. You can call it Dimitar's workspace. That's fine. And you can pick whatever role you want, because this is just for data analytics.
Just me.
They're just shamelessly taking your data right now for analytics purposes. Cool. A workspace can have multiple projects, by the way, just to clarify. So you could end up, right now, we're going to be working on the Better project, and slow down. But you could also have multiple different projects, which is great if you're working with different clients and stuff. So you can easily switch back and forth between your Firebase table setups. You can also give them access. Anyway, so what we have here is a workspace called Beta Project. We're going to create a project. The project is, the name of it would be the name. You can give it any name. I normally would give it the same name that my Firestore project is named, and then choose Firebase.
Yeah, it's Beta project, but I don't want to confuse people with Beta and then.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So if you choose Firestore right here, yep.
Yeah.
Continue. And then what you're going to need to do is Rowie uses Google authentication, which is one of the sign-in options in Firebase. So it's going to take you through the process now of making sure that you have that enabled on your account. So if you want to sign in there.
Yeah, I'm doing this. We're just doing another screen.
Private.
Private screen. Sorry, Josh. I'm not showing my information to you.
I never know what I'm sharing. Half the time I'm showing a different tab than I think I am.
Okay, it says, please grant Rowie access to your Firebase project to continue.
Yes. We can't see what that's looking like, but...
Yeah, let me try again. Do I need to do anything else or just click? Yeah, okay. Maybe it's working right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's working.
Okay, select. So now you're going to come to a list of all your Firebase projects. This may be one, this may be many. If you're quick like Dimitar, you select one. Or you can create a new project directly within this workflow, but you already have one because you're here using FlutterFlow. So you go forward and
now it says
they have really streamlined this, by the way.
Rowie.
So the way, I'll take this time to say, the way Rowie, if you could please show us how to delete a project in Rowie. Okay. Yes, we can, Ali. Yes, we can. Just for you. All right. So what's happening here? Just pause for a second. So Firebase configure your access, your security and access to data in your Firestore are configured by rules. This is slightly different, I believe, than MySQL, and that's what we'll be talking a lot about maybe next week. But in this, Rowie needs its own set of rules to essentially. Normally, FlutterFlow sets rules for you based on what you want your users to be able to, who can access which documents in which collection. Because Rowie is designed as kind of a backend admin portal, but also one that you might want team members to work with in order to maybe manage some stuff, but not everything. It has its own system of admin users that are separate from your FlutterFlow app, essentially. If you just want to use it yourself to set up stuff like Cloud Functions, what you can do at this point is just click continue. You can literally it's going to add a few extra rules into your Firebase rule set. They don't conflict with the FlutterFlow ones, essentially.
I cannot click continue. I have to click on set rules.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you do set rules, it's going to move those and it's going to merge your Firebase, your FlutterFlow ones with your now Rowie ones. It's also going to do the same for storage. The rules are different for like where photos are stored and stuff. You can also, again, if you're using this just yourself, I don't claim to be an expert in, but these rules are separate from your FlutterFlow ones is the important part. So
Do I need to change
rules
them?
are not enabled. You have not set up.
Okay.
Whoop, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow, they've really made this onboarding process a lot smoother. It's really impressive. Cool. I would rate. How would you rate that experience? Up or down?
Great.
I'd say that was a great experience.
Because of you.
As of yet, click this. Couldn't even keep up with you. Couldn't keep up with you. So we are now in the basic Rowie interface. The main core part of a Rowie workspace for your project is the concept of a table. A table roughly maps to a collection. However, they are virtualized. And by that, I mean that you can have two tables for the same collection in Firestore. So, and the reason you might want to do that is because you might want to be displaying the data slightly differently, kind of filtering it and stuff like that. So you could also have tables that query across collections. But for right now, we're just going to keep it simple. And we're just going to add what I would normally recommend someone just add one table for each collection. In this setup, what you're looking for, a primary collection means a top level collection. So where we had users and we also had the other one we created. So just select that, that's fine. And then it's going to be here. You're going to already see all of your collections. So select the users one.
Okay.
And then you can basically skip the rest of this normally.
Okay.
What the deep, whoa.
Oh yeah, waiting.
Yes. Okay. The last thing that, this is me personally, if you're using this alone, turn off the auditing. This right here. So what auditing will do? Yeah. Auditing is great if you're working with multiple people, especially if you've got like a customer service team and you want to keep track of who's changing what. If you're working on it by yourself, it just creates extra gunk that I personally don't like the look of. So you can now do create.
Okay. And then should we create the other one or first? Or?
So if you go in there, can you open up that? Now stop. So at this point, a Rowie table has columns. A column roughly corresponds to one of the field values you configured for the collection in Firestore. So if you had name, created time, value, all these different things, a column equals one of those, yeah? What Rowie will do is allow you to import existing information. You can also do it raw from CSV, but it will basically try to take one of your documents and figure out what's in that collection. So if you do import here.
Yeah. Then should I select all?
Yeah, exactly. So you can just select all. So which fields do you want to import? Because again, you can have two different tables. Great. You can also change your column names, but you can leave them as default. It's fine.
I'm fine with that.
And then here, what you're having is, what you'll notice is that Rowie supports more types of data types than Firestore. The reason is because they're, again, virtualized. So it has things like a slider or a rating field. That is purely a display thing. It's on top of what's in your Firestore. So your Firestore may be a integer value. Rowie can display that in a way that's maybe more meaningful to you and your team to look at. Some of them obviously match directly, and then some of them allow you to do some really cool extra different things. So normally it's going to pick these up perfectly just by itself. This is great. Perfect. You can continue. Finish.
Finish.
And so now what we see here is we have all of our data. You can, if you delete data and if you create data in Rowie, so if you were to add a row in this table, it will add a row in your Firestore database. If you delete a record, it deletes it. You can obviously.
Can we try this right now?
You can indeed. Try one. Delete it.
So no, I just want to add first and then I'll delete it. Then can I add for
you're hardcore typing in the timestamp manually rather than using the picker.
Yeah, so the email it's rowiedemo.com and ID I think will be. Can I use the same ID? Do you know that? Or?
No, do not use the same ID.
I just change it. I will just change it one letter.
Exactly.
Okay, so if I go to
back to your Firestore console,
Firestore, I should be able to see this record. What you're saying.
You should indeed.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's here. Okay, so you're not lying. In the end of the day.
So and again, vice versa. If you delete stuff here, it deletes in Rowie. So it is literally built directly on your Firebase.
So
layer,
if I
which is really
delete
nice.
it from here,
It will
right?
delete in Rowie as well. Yes.
Yeah, I delete it from here, and then I go back to Rowie. Come on, go back to Rowie.
Here, Rowie. Come here, boy.
Okay. Yes, you're
Cool.
right.
And it's gone. The important thing to note here is that if you delete a table, your data is not gone. Tables are not like deleting the entire collection. So repeat with me, deleting a record deletes it. Deleting the table is fine.
Okay, that's very important, actually.
Settings. It is a very important thing to understand. And they will warn you about those kind of things. But yeah, you can, and because again, you can have multiple tables. So that's the kind of basics. There are some really cool stuff we could get into in terms of import and export, but let's get to the meat, which is the Firestore, right? The cloud functions.
First question, should I create a new table for the other collection as well?
First, I actually want you to go back to FlutterFlow real quick. Okay, and the reason is it doesn't matter so much with this one, but the easiest way to get your columns mapped up to the right data types is to, when you have a new collection, create the first, sorry, not in Firebase, FlutterFlow, is to actually use the FlutterFlow CMS. This ensures the highest degree of compatibility and smallest chance of a JOS type screw up where you get things mixed up. In your, oh, you really left your project all the way. You abandoned it.
Yeah, because I'm using one tab only, and I'm sharing with one tab. So
yeah, if you go into your Firestore setup where you had that, there we go, and then you click that manage content at the top right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you actually do this with the free free plan?
Okay. I hope so. If not, you shared your thing with me, so maybe I can do it secretly for you in the background. But does it look like it's loading or not?
It is loading something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so it is loading. Yeah. Okay, I think they made it free for everybody. So the FlutterFlow CMS is obviously great because ultimately you want FlutterFlow to know what your data is. And so we want that to match up perfectly with Rowie. So the easiest thing I always do is just go create one record with every single field that I have in that kind of collection filled out, and then use it to create my table in Rowie and use that as the template one to set the fields. But it takes a few minutes to load here. If you're really impatient, you can skip ahead, or I can show you some other things in Rowie while we're waiting. While you wait, some like elevator music.
Yeah, but it's low, isn't it? I mean, I see the data right now.
I don't see it. Oh, because I think you're in a modal, right? You're in like a.
Oh, you're right.
Are you able to? Okay, we can't see what you see, but I'm going to take your word for it.
Wait. I will open it to the same because this opened at a new type. That's why it happened. But now you can see it, right? Right.
Sorry about that. Yeah, exactly. So if you just go into your FS counters and add a document, it may fail because you have. So if you just set all those fields.
Yeah. So user ID. This should be.
You can actually just put /user/ABC. It's just so it has the right kind of structure. It doesn't actually have to link to a user, and then ABC. So it's a string, another thing, ABC, and then a number 0. And then the created time as well, the time and date step at the top. They don't even let you type it in FlutterFlow. They don't give you that option. Okay. Cool. So if you save that, I have a feeling it will not save. And the reason it will not save. Yeah, this is because
it's saving. It's saved.
Oh, cool. And do you want to delete that empty one as well while we're at it?
Yes.
Just delete that. And also just to show that stuff you do here is also reflected, obviously, in Rowie and everywhere else because they're all the same place. All right, we're done here. You can get out of here. So we have initialized.
We go back to Rowie right now, or?
Yep.
Okay.
To Rowie, please. So just to re-summarize the beach, what is this website? To recap where we're at, what we've done is just some very basic initial setup. Set up our users collection. We're trying to count how many users there are, and instead of doing it via an action when a user registers, we're trying to do it automatically in the background to keep track of it. So what we want to do is add another table. So if you go back to your little dashboard, there you go. Create a new table and just do the same thing we just did with the same options: primary, choose the other collection, and then do auditing off, please, for my sanity. Thank you.
Yes.
And then go into that table, import that record, and you'll have all your fields set up. And trust me, this is a huge time saver. If you ever have a client who has like massive data to put through a CSV file and stuff like that, this can be, you can leave these as JSON for now, that's fine. What I wanted to show here to change one of the field configs, again, it doesn't actually mess with your data. It only messes with it in Rowie. So it's never, just by changing the field type, you're not changing your data in Firestore. Yeah. So if you go into user and you do right click on those three little buttons or whatever, left click, sorry, on the user column.
Here.
There you go. Yeah, click on those. You have these options. If you do edit type, it's right now your favorite JSON. What we're going to change this to is reference. This is a document reference. Reference right there in the middle. Up.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Cool. So if you just do OK.
Update. Yes.
And what you're actually then able to see is that this is a kind of slash structured document reference like FlutterFlow is kind of used to. It just displays a little bit nicer. I think everything else is fine. Oh, the value, you wanted that as an integer. Do you want to change that one? The right column?
Sure.
Let's change that one to an integer, right?
Number or
number. Yeah, that's integer. Integer in human terms. Cool. And if you see on the right hand side, the last part of the UX, there should be, if you highlight that row, like if you kind of click on one of the cells, like UID or the row. There you go. Click there. Just click anywhere to select it. You see, you get on the right hand side this pop-up menu on the right hand side of the screen.
Here.
Right hand side. All the way to the right. There's like an arrow. All the way to the right.
Okay.
There you go. Boom. This is kind of nice for, again, for browsing your data in a non-row format. It's kind of nice. So, awesome. Let's go into our users table, and
users table.
We'll do few. We're gonna
tables. So this is how I access it, right? Go to table and then users.
Exactly.
Okay.
So in users, and what I want to do if we just can add a column for let's add a column for let's call it address. Just call it address for now, a string value. Short text is string, exactly. Okay, so now if we do that's obviously something we haven't told FlutterFlow about, so it wouldn't know it exists, but Firestore still would, right? So if you enter a value into that column, just to confirm, it will still save that as a string value in Firebase. But obviously, because FlutterFlow doesn't know about it, we wouldn't be able to use it within FlutterFlow. So that's the only kind of things you need to keep track of. If you want to show console to prove that I'm right.
Console in Firebase or
Firebase. Sorry, Firebase.
Okay.
There is a reason I created this column. There's a purpose. I want to show default values. If you guys have any questions, do please join in. If there's anybody there, I did, and obviously I've got your question. So you can see you've got your address, right?
It's wait a second. It's over,
there you go. There we go.
It's over here. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's say we wanted to have addresses for every customer, but obviously in the sign up process, we don't want to get that information from them, and we don't want to hit any null value errors from it not displaying later. We want to be able to know which users have set addresses and which users have not set addresses, right? In our potentially later. So this is a really amazing thing that Rowie can do, which is set default values the moment documents are created. This is a type of cloud function, slightly different than the one we wanted to do, but if it's okay with you, we're going to do both. Is that all right?
Yeah.
So if you click on that where you have address on the three dots.
Yeah.
Cool. And what you're going to do there is column config.
Yeah.
Cool. And what you see here is you have default value type. You have three options. You have undefined, you have null, you have static, and then you have dynamic, which is the cloud functions one, which we still need to finish the setup apparently. So to explain the different types, Dimitar is maybe better at this than me, but this goes back to the null safety stuff. Undefined means it's not even in the the document in any way, shape, or form. It just does not exist. It is not present. Null means it exists, but it has a value that it doesn't exist, if you like. So FlutterFlow would know that there's supposed to be something there, but what's there doesn't exist. Then you have your static, which is if you wanted to set everybody's address to 723 Evergreen Terrace in Springfield, Illinois, you could set that as the default for every user. You can do little tricks like setting things as their user ID to then in FlutterFlow go, if it's UID, they must not have set it yet. It's a nice little way to do things like that. Do you want to set this one as static for now?
Yeah.
Just so that if you go in back and then
deploy, right?
Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. But we didn't set up Roy run. You didn't actually set a default value, by the way. You set it to default value, but didn't type anything in.
Okay.
Yeah,
you're right. Static? You're right. Okay, so what should I write?
Isn't it? Is it 724? 724 Evergreen Terrace? Where did the Simpsons live? 723 Evergreen Terrace?
No, that's too complex for me.
Okay. Just do default address or something. Yeah, my address.
Default address.
Address, exactly.
Then update. Can I deploy now where it's already deploying?
This, I think, remember the thing we were fixing with Ali. In the meantime, I'm surprised it's being able to do a build when you haven't set up Roy run. You should have had to set that up first. So let's go do that. I don't know why I didn't try it. So on the left-hand side, I think it's in settings.
Yeah.
General Firebase console, scroll down, customize. I think it's Roy run over there.
Yeah.
Roy run is essentially your cloud functions thing. So what you want to do is just do deploy. Click this button. Then you're going to have to follow a few more prompts.
So region, I'll just put
whichever region is closer to you. Yeah. Mars,
deploy.
Venus, wherever. You know, there are two types of people in the world, Dimitar. There are fast clickers and slow clickers. You are a fast clicker, for sure.
Yeah, because I done this like a couple thousand of times, right? So.
I thought you said you'd never done it before. I thought this was your first time. I thought this was special.
Setting things,
I thought this was just us.
But probably I'm thinking right now it's loading because it's already deploying something. Even if I click here, deploy, it will just double load. It will stack load, right?
Well, that'll give us a good chance to debug Roy. And in the meantime, by the way, Ali, when you say, how do you delete a project in Roy? Can you be 100% clear? I know you can't talk, but when you're saying deleting a project, you mean a Firebase project that has been added and you were unable to delete it from the workspace. I haven't actually tried that. I don't know if you can open another tab with the same, while this is running in the background.
Yeah, I hope so.
20, this usually takes 20 seconds. If you just turned on billing, oh, by the way, you do need Blaze for this to work. I have a feeling you broke Roy, but we could maybe leave it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So basically, if I go here in the project, can I create a new project over here? Yeah, I can create. So if I create a new project like delete me project. So his question is, can he delete? Can I connect it with the same? Probably not, right?
Yeah, it's been already connected to Roy. So once he's created it, is there? I'm guessing this sounds like I'm being set up, and there is no delete button. I'm guessing the answer. But so if you close this.
Okay.
I think I know maybe what he wants. If you could delete a project, yes, I know how you do this. Okay, go into your Firebase console.
Firebase. Okay.
Console, yeah, exactly. This is how you do it, Ali. I think what you're looking for.
But please don't delete my Firebase project.
We've spent too long on this. We're committed. So when you go into your, you'll see you have this collection called Roy. This is your settings. I know you found this already, Ali, but for people who are not here, this is where Roy stores all of the kind of configuration stuff you're doing in your table. You can essentially, you could delete this. It wouldn't mess with your data at all. I recommend just not touching it, but it is, for instance, where if you're using more advanced setups with a team and stuff. The second place you will see Roy show up, because I'm guessing Ali has tried to delete all of this and it is still not gone from Roy, What you are looking for, Ali, if you go into the settings cog at the top left, Dimitar, where it says project settings, top left, yeah, or project overview, sorry. Then that little cog thing next to it, the little settings cog, and then project, yeah. This is where you normally see like your iOS app and your Android app. So if you scroll down a little bit, bloop, 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 bloop. Scroll,
right?
Yeah, keep scrolling. And then here you go. See how there's something called Rowie Web App? Rowie App, it's called, yeah? This is what you would want to do to unlink it from Rowie, Ali. If you give that a try.
Here, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, don't do it for this one, but yeah, that is what would mean that when you went to Rowie again, it wouldn't be there because you've just severed the connection between the two. And if you're ever having a broken thing, like I think Dimitar might have just done, this is a good way to reset things if they get smushed up. Let's see, how's your cloud build doing?
Yeah, we'll see. So I have to delete this one, but okay. So if I go here, no, actually I have to go to settings and then over, and then I think it's done, right?
It worked. It worked like magic. Yeah, you have to press that verify button in the bottom right there.
Verify. Okay. Yeah, verify. Yeah, I think it's
cool. So now you are set up to do cloud builds.
Nice.
So if we go back to our table, that might have even already run. I don't know, in the background while we were fussing around.
Users, right?
Yeah, we were in there, exactly. And if you look at the logs at the top right, where it like is a little tree thing, top right.
Tree.
The one on the far right.
One. Yeah.
There you go. That's your logs. So it doesn't look like it's tried to it doesn't look like it's tried to build anything, but these are pretty cool actually. You can also ingest webhooks here directly, but we won't get into that. So let's try and set that default value function again, the way we're doing the build. So 3 dots and then column config.
Yeah.
And then you've set your default. And so now if you do update, it should try to deploy it.
Yeah.
And why didn't I ask to deploy it? That's weird. This is the issue we had with value.
But it says saved, right? So
it's saved.
Do you want me to change the address?
Yeah, change it exactly.
Default address.
There we go. Deploy changes. So every time you deploy changes, you're updating you'll see this code. Don't get scared. As long as you don't see any giant red thing saying failed, it's fine, which it should most of the time, unless there are some weird things.
Okay, so you're saying me right now that if I register a new user, or if a new user is created, registered, I should be able to see my new address, right?
Yep, 100%.
Okay.
Let's try it once this deploys. Let's try it. And then we'll do the big one, which is the counter. And I think we might have to maybe do another episode on these because it seems, I know a lot of people have been asking about them, and I think they do add in a huge, although it's a little bit of kind of seems techie, guys, it's really not. If I can do it.
Yeah.
If
I can do
it. The man who found out about passing page parameters today after building his own server and everything, he's like, dude, you can pass parameters. There's some things this week. You just
but really, while this is loading, maybe I can talk about the way I'm doing it, because while this is loading, so it's the way that I'm doing the same thing. Actually, it's because I'm using PHP in MySQL or MySQL, it doesn't matter. And then I will have I will know when there is a new user, and I will just write the code in PHP connecting with MySQL, and I will just say, if there is a new user, then do this and this. So it's obviously you need a code, but obviously with Row it's much simpler. If you don't know how to code, you just click some buttons, which is great, and it should work because I've seen it working. So yeah, so we're just waiting for deploy. Do you know how much time it usually takes? Do you know that?
Usually the first time you deploy stuff, it will be a little bit slower, but in general, like when you're doing updates, this is the one thing that unfortunately is kind of not a pain point, but yeah, I'll be honest, it's a pain point, right? It's that if you suck at writing JavaScript like me and you're not really sure whether your function's working or not, and then every time you make a change, you have to wait for this, it can be a little bit of pain. So while do you want to try and, you've got your run mode open. Do you want to create another user? Oh, no,
Yeah.
it won't work yet because it isn't deployed yet. So let's do the other thing, which is the task. Yeah, we can do this in the background. You can minimize that. And I'll talk through the options. So I think I should.
Or just close it,
Right.
right? If I close it,
Yeah, I think
we'll
you
be
can
able
close
to
it.
see
Yep.
if what is done. Okay.
We can always check the logs. So the other big, as well as like import export, you see that thing that looks like a puzzle piece next to where the logs were? The one right next to it? There you go. This is your extensions. Extensions are done on a per table basis. So if you install one of these extensions for this table, it is only available for that table. Yeah. I'm sure maybe there's some fancy way in the background, but
okay,
in
so
my
you can
mind,
do
it's only like
push
this.
notifications from
These
Rowie.
you can indeed. And I had a few people asking, I think maybe have joined us today who have some questions about push notifications. But for now, I'll run really quickly through just a few of these, the main ones. A task is the universal thing. That basically allows you to run any arbitrary code you want, if you know how to do it in JavaScript, based on a trigger condition. And that trigger condition is not just create document, delete document when a document's updated. It can also have filters on it. So you can have every time a user is created that has a birthday under 25, tell them you're a millennial, right? And do any sort of things like that you want. Wait, sorry, can I just go through the whole list real quick and then we'll go back before you dive into. They need OpenAI plugin for sure. DocSync is essentially a shortcut way of every time a document is created in this collection, always create another document in this collection, you mapping those field values. It's just a pre-configured thing, but again, it's something you could do in task, but it's just making it a little bit simpler for you. The other ones, Algolia doesn't matter, BigQuery, Slack message, SendGrid email, if you're using those types of services, this may be a lifesaver for you or be very helpful for you if you've got kind of your CRMs not connected to your stuff. They also, I think, have some pre-configured Discord ones, push notifications. That's actually new. I have to admit, I haven't tried this one yet. So can you open that?
Which one? The push notification?
Push notification. I haven't tried this one yet. And wow, okay. And then trigger conditions. So this is the standard format you'll see for any of the kind of Rowie cloud functions. So can we go through this one by one? Actually, I'll show them.
Yeah,
so you have your trigger. Essentially, every cloud function has a trigger event, which can be these things. So it can be on every time a document is created in a certain table. And remember, this is the other cool kind of thing about Rowie is that because a table doesn't have to be connected to an entire collection, it means that you can technically be triggering this on part of a collection. No, it doesn't necessarily make sense, does it? You could trigger it across collections. Anyway, let's not get stuck in that. So when stuff is created, updated, or deleted, and you're trying to comply with GDPR, cloud functions can help you because they can be triggered to run.
So for example, when there is a user and the user, you want to delete everything that user made, for example, like a post or like the picture or whatever, you can use this in technically and then delete everything related to the user, right?
On a more optimistic note, because what user would ever want to leave your app? If your user changes their profile photo and you have stored it in a million different places all over your app, as long as you keep track somewhere in your mind or a spreadsheet of where all those places are, and you're pretty diligent about that, it's I think what they call housekeeping, you can set it up so that every time that happens for every user, it will run and go and find every photo that they've ever uploaded and change it to the new one. I'm not going to make any claims about how efficiently that is, but cloud functions do supposedly work very efficiently in a cost-effective manner. And yeah, that's just how Firestore works. You're going to end up with data everywhere. So what you also have here is a required field. What this means is that essentially the trigger happens if it's on create every time a row or a document is created. Same thing, row document. But you can set it here to have required so that only to run if a certain field exists. That's that initialized null stuff. The reason you might want to do this is you might not want to run a function until the user was fully onboarded. And then once they've got all of their information filled out, then you might want to go start creating other stuff for them or sending them push notifications and whatnot. So that's really cool. You can set multiple. This is if you're smart and you want to have more conditions than that. I leave these blank, surprise, surprise, and I just run it. But if you're smart with JavaScript, you can do more here.
Okay,
Then,
so this can be just leave like that, and then it will still
yep,
work. Because I was
that one
thinking
can be
that you
left.
need to write some code, and I was
No.
okay.
This one you can leave blank. The
Okay.
only one where you have to write code is this last one. This last one we're going to use OpenAI. No, so I have an obviously example. This example is kind of a more complicated one that I think will be confusing for people right now.
Maybe
So do you want
okay.
to
Maybe we can just bring the task one, isn't it?
exactly? So this is the task, yeah.
Maybe
So
create.
again, the basic task is what we want to do is click fast, and we want to create. Killing me here. We're trying to show stuff to people, Dimitar. They're gonna have to slow it down to like slow motion.
Yeah.
So what we've got here is the trigger event, which is on document created. Every time a user is created, this will happen. Okay, now required fields. Dimitar selected email. Why did you select email, Dimitar?
Because it's required. I mean, I want to have the email when someone is registered, right?
Exactly. So basically what you don't want to do is give them an address unless they've given you an email. You're not getting my fake street. This kind of makes sense. It just means that it doesn't run accidentally when you're just messing around creating stuff. You don't have to have it. If you don't have any required fields, it will run every single time. Cool. So, and then trigger conditions, we're going to leave this one blank because we don't care about this. And then this is the body of the extension. If you can just kill all the commented posts, the commented code.
Yeah.
Right, now you get to do some work. No, so just to explain what I understand about this first part of JavaScript, the important parts, which is after async. Sorry, can you show up? So you'll see this thing called row. So essentially these are your parameters going into your function: row, db, change, and ref. Yeah. Row it refers to the document row. It's essentially allowing you to access information from the document that triggered the cloud function to run. So if your user every new user is created, you want to send them an email, you might want to have in here, you might want to access their name in order to say, hi, Bob, welcome to FlutterFlow. So you would do using the dot notation, you can access any of those fields, properties in the document of the document that created it. With DB, you can access any document in your entire collection, in your entire Firestore database from here, not just this table, not just this collection. So you would do things like db.collection, and you can then, I can give you an example of this. We won't need it for this one, but I think those are more complex examples. What we want to do right now is just update that counter, yeah? Stay on track. Has your thing deployed?
Deploying. Okay.
Did it ever deploy?
Let me see. So
build logs?
Yeah, I think.
Woo! So if we go and create a new user in your run mode, it should.
Yeah.
And you don't have to update FlutterFlow for this to happen, by the way. Your same version of your app is now got new superpowers on the back end.
Okay, so again, when I register a new user, I should be able to see
that they have an
the new
address.
address. Okay,
exactly.
So let me
on every other new user.
Let me see that. First, I have to log out because I already registered a new user.
That would be a good start.
So let me try with address.email because I want to be sure that this is coming from this email.
Dimitar's test stuff is so much better than mine, which is like demo 1, demo 2, demo
new
3.
address. So let's check it with new address because this should say new address. So if I register, okay, now it's register, and let me go to firestore. Source
of truth.
So it's this one. New address, and then new address, default address. Nice. It worked.
So this can be really cool, and it could also save you a lot of time if you find yourself setting the same values again and again and again for documents. Even this feature alone could be huge. And it also helps you avoid null errors because you can initialize every single field in a collection to make sure that all the values exist, unless for some reason you don't want them to exist for some reason, but you can actually make sure you set them all so that you don't have so many bugs in your app. Cool. So now the next one we want to do is on this happening, right? On every new user created, what we want to be doing is actually updating something somewhere else, right? We have that second collection, yeah?
Yeah. So can we do two quote functions on the same row, or the same column? Sorry.
Yep. You can do them, definitely.
Okay.
I haven't ever experienced any problems with it. I'm not going to claim that there might never be. I don't. There will be other people who know that better than me, but from my perspective, so yeah. So you've got right now something for the default address. What we would want to do now, there are two ways we can do this. You can choose. Either we can set, if we go into our FS counters, yeah. What you see here is we have this value, right?
Yeah.
For the 1, 2, 3, yeah. If we go and set that in config, for the other one, for the address, we set it dynamic. For the address in the other table, we were setting a static value, right?
Yes. Yes.
But if you click those three dots and then do column config, you'll see that you now can choose dynamic.
Okay.
If you choose dynamic.
So why can you just tell me again why I can choose dynamic right now and before I?
Because you set up cloud functions. What is happening here is essentially exactly the same as a task without the kind of conditions, yeah? So what you would be setting here is you can write, again, arbitrary kind of JavaScript for what you want this value to be. Does it relate to something else in this row? Does it? When this will evaluate, though, this is, again, the default value. It's default value. So it's when it will be created. So this would essentially, when it would be created, this is not exactly what we want, right? What we want for this is for it to change when a new user is updated, right?
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. So, but I just wanted to show you this because I made a mistake and thought we could do it here. There is one third type of field, which is called the derivative. If you
I don't have this type.
It's not here. It's a column type.
Okay.
If you close this, it's just you want to add new column. There's one called derivative. And then we will have covered all three kind of intro points to derivative.
This one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What's the name? Okay, derivative. I'll just
you can call it derivative. So rows values. So this one is kind of between task and default value. So this is letting you watch for changes, and then doing a further evaluation on it. So there are situations where this is preferable essentially to running tasks, because you can essentially have it that say every time, you can even have it simple as a true false, right? If in FlutterFlow you update a document, you update a certain field in your user document to true, it could then cause this to run on that row alone, which is pretty nice. And I think there are some performance benefits potentially, but I'm getting very close to the limit of my knowledge here, so I'm not going to pretend I know more than that. Shall we go and cobble together some JavaScript in the other table and do the task so that what we will do is every time new user is created, we will update this document in this collection. So yeah, you can do it. Sorry, you can set this back to you can change this. This is the counters, yeah?
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant we're going to do the task version because this is only default. This won't help us. This will only help us every time a new record is created in the table. So you can just set that back to static if you want. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
It doesn't need a default value because of the way that I set it up. I understand why you. Yeah. So it can just be static or whatever. It's fine.
And default
cool.
0.
Yeah, exactly. So if
should I deploy it?
Just do later.
Later. Okay.
It's fine. We'll deploy them both at the same time. So we need to go into our users collection because that's the trigger point, right?
Yeah.
So in our users, we're going to create a task, and what's going to happen is every time a new user is created or deleted, if you want to get fancy, but let's do it one step at a time. So tasks at the top right.
Top right.
Yep.
Tasks.
There you go. Like one more over. No. Left. There you go. That one. The one that looks like a puzzle piece.
Okay. Extensions. And then task. Okay.
So this task is going to be called count user total. Whatever. Count users. You can, whatever you feel like.
Yeah. So I want to create.
No, it did not work. Okay. Interesting.
So I want when it's created, right?
Created. Yeah, when it's created, we have this require field. Let me get back in there. I can't multitask. Trigger conditions, trigger events, trigger conditions. You can leave blank. Yeah.
Yeah, trigger condition is when it's created,
Yep,
right?
exactly. So every time a new user is created, and then you have every time, assuming they have an email, which they always will, and then trigger conditions, the next ones you can leave blank. And then the fourth one is where you want to input your code. So if you delete all the commented code, then we can go from there.
Yeah. Okay, so basically I need first to catch, do I need first to catch the, because there are two ways actually to do this. First, we can catch the number currently. So if they are, for example, right now there are 3, we can catch this number and then we can just increase it and then we can just write it. I think this is the way, at least how I will do it. I don't know if you have another approach.
One thing you can do, and that's why I was kind of showing the derivatives. I mean, I think the way that I would do it most simplistically probably is I would, every time I ran the cloud function, I would go and get the value from the other document, and then I would add one to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Stupid solution, right? Yeah, exactly. Because then I could, the smarter way that may be better for like multi-writes and stuff would be to actually probably have the, every time a new user is created, be using like a derivative to count how many there are in the table and assigning them like a number.
Yeah, but it's not very efficient.
Oh, is that less efficient? Okay.
Yeah, because if you have 1,000, 1 million users, it's not very efficient. The way I would do it is just take this number. For example, right now we have 3, and then add 1, and then save it to the.
But you can literally save. Sorry, I maybe should say different. You could literally set the value of that column to be equal to whatever the total is always, so that everybody has the same 613.
That's true. That's true.
And then you would actually just set the new count. But let's do it this way because it's the one that makes most sense to me in my head right now. Yeah. So what we need to do first is use our JavaScript knowledge, and we need to get the data from the other table. Yeah. So the way that would be, I think, you do a var or a var total equals db. Oh, I think you have to do a weight db. I'm not gonna lie. I copy and paste because I have my functions that I know work. Do you want to try and do you want me to shortcut us, or do you want to?
Yeah, you can shortcut us if you already have a code that is.
Unless you want to use OpenAI and figure it out. But
if you already have a code that is working,
yeah,
you can just.
I have my basic setups that I use. So right, let's say where row. I'm just trying to find one that's similar because I have to do this sometimes. Wait equals. Okay, cool. So we can use this one. Wait items ref where right. Let's do this. Where can I copy this to you?
To a private chat or to Telegram? It doesn't matter.
Okay. I'll stick it on Telegram. Okay. I guess I can also stick it in the public chat. There's no reason not to. So, but you'll see it here when we post it later. So let's just make sure it works. If you want to just dump that in there, and then we'll work through cleaning it up a little bit to make sure it's relevant.
I don't get it. Where did you send it?
I sent it to somebody. I think I sent it to you on Telegram, but I'll send it to you on chat. Yeah, I'll send it to you here in private. Does that work better?
Okay, now I got it.
Cool.
For some reason, I didn't get it on the.
So if you just dump that all in the middle of this thing, and then I'll tell you how to clean up. So, so we have that const items ref. You can change that to total count, const total count, so it's a little bit more named. And then you change. Do you naturally fix it from right to left when you're looking at code like the computer does?
Yeah,
that's hilarious. I just noticed that. I always fix it from left to right. That's funny.
Total number.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're doing is here just playing a constant value. I'm not sure in JavaScript what's the difference between constant var. I'm not going to pretend to. But, I know that const works here. If anybody knows the difference, do you know the difference? Constant var. Constant doesn't change, right? A variable is a variable value.
Yeah, constant doesn't change.
Simple as that. Yeah. Okay, and this doesn't change because it's constant, right? We only get it once. We want to go grab it once, so it is a constant value. So what we've done here is constant, that can be anything, equals db.collection in quotes, users. No, sorry, that's not the right collection, no.
This actually, this should be the collection, right? Because we're taking the users. Go back. It should be the users, right?
Why are you getting the users? We don't need the users. Go back. Undo.
We need to get
We need to get the counter document, Dimitar. The counter document.
Yeah, which is inside the users table, isn't it?
No, it's inside of a
Ah,
different
no,
collection because
you're
I've made
right.
it unnecessarily fancy for some reason, but it is.
Right.
It could have been in the users collection, but
You're right.
it's not. So we need to go to the DB collection and FS counters.
FS counters.
What?
Was that the name of it?
Yeah, that was the name of it. What code did I use? That was not necessarily the best example. FS code. So we're doing that. Then const snapshot. We basically want to get what the value is there right now. Yeah. So you could do that value snapshot, or whatever.
I just want to copy and paste the name. Yeah, it's this one. Okay.
Yeah.
So this should be FS counters because this is the collection.
Okay. Okay.
And then we have
code.
and then we have this FS collections counter where, and we are trying to find
the right counter, right? Because in the future we might have many more counters. So what we know though is that the name of it is called whatever it called it. No, the name was called total users, I think, right? If you look in your Firestore, what was it called? You gave it a name.
It's called value.
No, it's the property is value. You gave it it has two fields, value and name, right?
Oh, number. No, it should be a value. Can I open the wait?
Yeah, because I made you do it a different way, and yes, that's why I made you.
Know what I'm doing. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. I'm a
just
professional.
Don't deploy it. It's fine.
It doesn't matter. We'll
yeah,
just
it's fine. It's fine. So if you look in your console and go to the FS counters, see here you've got value and then you got name. So we want to the way we're going to find this document, we're looking through the collection by the name. We know the name of it because there's only one of those. We want to grab this specific counter. Okay.
But why we're not grabbing the value 3? I mean,
because we're grabbing the document which will have the value 3.
Okay.
Because Joss, when he wrote this, was not very good with JavaScript and was just happy it worked. I still struggle with the basics of that, but there are definitely, this is in no ways I just grabbed a few that I've written before, but that one's not fantastic. I'm not gonna lie. It's not, you can actually just grab it directly by the document reference. And if I can find one right now that I've done it does that, I will share it. But
okay, so this is FF counters because this is the. Okay, I'll just follow your directions.
It's dangerous, my friend. That's dangerous.
Selection. And you're saying this should be the name of it, right? You said
that. Yeah, exactly. Where the name equals not row.name, but where name equals it's just going to do a fixed value. We know what the name is, whatever we called it, total users or something, or user counter.
So it's row that. Do I get any suggestions? Okay. So...
No, because it's a fixed string value that we set when we created that document. I kind of confusing them. Just gonna crack open the OpenAI a little bit here.
So it's so this is the row, and the row because isn't it that where the name and why
equals.
I still don't get it. Why we're using the name and not the value? We need to catch the
value will change, right? What we're trying to do, what this is doing, and I'm not saying it's right, a snapshot gets the whole Firestore document with all of the stuff in it, right? And then after you get it, after you run that .get at the end of that line, you can then, you see it checks for is snapshot empty, whatever. If it's not empty, and again, you can get it directly by the document reference. The way that this would work though is that
we can just get it like that, right? We can just get it like that, just that get, and then we can get it the snapshot. So that way we can get the whole, because we only have one document inside this, right?
Yeah, okay. So you can do it. Yeah, sure. If you want to for now, yeah, that's fine.
So we don't need where, because we're not searching inside the document. We don't need to search inside the document because we have only
You're right, because we only have one. But in the future, we will have more. But you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So we're going to get it. It will return one document. We now need the value of that, which would be from that if snapshot equals empty, return empty, else.
So if there is nothing, we'll just return an empty collection. If there is not anything, if there is any single document, we'll just return an error.
It doesn't need to do
Which
anything.
is
You can
a
return
empty collection.
You can
And
return
then,
it to console. Yeah.
and then for each doc reference, we should
I don't
have.
think. Yeah, this is for deleting it, which is what you asked for earlier. And you're like, I want to be able to delete users. That's instead, we're not updating the users. We want to, we want to update that document. Exactly. So
we need to get the document and then we need to update it, right?
Yeah,
because we need to get the data. But how do we get the data exactly? So get probably.
So when you get, it's a. I just can never remember syntax, but I gotta look at an example. I either gotta go OpenAI or I gotta go find one of my tutorials. And I hope this gives everyone confidence that the person who's writing your tutorials can't ever remember how to do a basic syntax, but it's just the reality of it. Once you learn how to do a few things, you can do many things. Where's my one for? I just need any example of how to grab it because it's the same in Dart. Even. Where's my notifications? Filter, firestore data, patch updates. Here we go. So, filter. I remember one of our first episodes, somebody wrote like, they didn't write with Dumb and Dumber, but filter list of firestore data. Second one. Where did you get to? Are you clicking around? Are you waiting for me?
Oh, I'm just writing the code.
Yeah, you're like, I'm just doing it. I've given up on you, Joss. This is the Dimitar show now. I'm glad Joss is mainly clicking around because I can.
No, but I don't know why it says expecting semicolon. But yeah, the thing is that I'm not sure how to get it because I haven't used, of course, I haven't used this API before. But I assume that it's doc ref and then dot and then value. I'm assuming that this is like that, but
no, you have to go into the data. That's the weird thing that I always struggle with is that you have to get it first from. Why is my OpenAI cheat sheet not working? Because I'm not logged in.
Okay, so we have this item. The snapshot. Okay, so this is
so a snapshot. It's a slightly different thing, and then you have to do the data part. The actual data is stored in the data, right? Because it's one big JSON. Please hold. Get fire document.
Okay, so it should be like that. It should be the collection that doc and then that value, isn't it? I'm still getting an error for some reason.
How come? I thought you. Oh, that's why coding. I was like, why can't I use OpenAI? I can't have hit my limits. No, there has to be a better way. What am I going to do with that? All right, here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
You need to use code. Oh wait, I will give you what the OpenAI says because it is much smarter than me. I'm going to copy and paste this to you in the chat, in the private chat, or for anyone at home, and then just take out the. This is what OpenAI is doing. So that will get us started, obviously, because you don't need to do a query snapshot, as you said. You can just get it directly from the document ID because we know that.
Okay.
I was trying to provide a smarter example, but it kind of flopped. So const doc ref equals db collection users doc user ID, const doc wait doc ref and get, and then see how it does the doc data.
Yeah, so basically we have.
So now your data dot value will be the number
same.
3.
So this one will be doc because this is the document, right? Why it says. So this one should be the doc. That's duplicating, okay, because I have it over here. So let me comment this over here. Okay, so I have the doc, and then I will check. I'll check if it's empty because if it's empty, I will return an error because it's normal if it's empty.
Yeah.
Or maybe if it's empty, we can just return 0.
Can I just say something real quick? Can I say something real quick? The difference here is that see how they have after their db.collection users .doc and then in parentheses user ID, yeah?
Yeah.
On line 13, yeah?
Yeah.
So what that's doing is that is grabbing the exact document based on a string value. So if we wanted to use that, which is the fastest way to get the data, we just need to grab from Firebase console in this specific example, the ID for that counter you created, the firestore document ID. Yeah. Since we didn't call it something nice like counter for users. Yeah. It will have some random ass long number. That's why I normally do mine with queries, but in this case, you can just get it specifically. Yeah. And that could be this would also be an example of where you would get it from the row, for instance, of that user if you were getting something. But that's not. So you've got now
so
DB collection.
Fortunately the doc.data is not, this is not possible.
But yeah, because you're missing something still on your line 3. Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. 3, where it says db.collection, delete the semicolon.
Okay, yeah, I need the doc, right? I need
exactly. You need doc and then parentheses and then in quotations, we're going to put just say ABCD, yeah, for now, and then we'll go with the actual value, right?
Yeah, I'll just put the actual. So I need the UID. Do I need the UID?
The document ID for the counter document, not the user. Yeah, exactly. So which will be I can't see what you're looking at.
FS counter, right?
Yeah, exactly. For the FS counter document, if you click on the path thing, you should get some. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, cool. So now we're going to get that specific document. Now what we do is we await the get, we get the doc data, and now we should be able to pull it out the field value just with the what are you doing here?
So I'm getting the reference, right? I need the reference. So I don't need the reference.
Data ref.
Do I need the reference or do I don't need
once we have the doc.data, we should have everything. Let me
sorry.
Let me check in the back. In other words, so okay, get Firebase. I gotta love OpenAI. It's spoiled me. I was looking this up every single time I do stuff on here. I don't know why I struggle so much. It's the same as, it's not that different from Dart, no?
It's JavaScript. Dart, it's not JavaScript. But yeah, actually I did it in PHP, but really I don't remember what were the methods to do this.
Because it's the same SDK. It's like very, very similar. I'm trying to find fail, blah, blah, blah.
But if you have the data, we should be able to get the value, right?
You know what it's given me? It's literally given me the example, I think, from the Firebase stuff, which we've already done.
I think I got it, because I think this should be total numbers, and then this should be equal to this one, and then this one. I should now update it only. So I don't know how to update it. So it should be.
You need to. You can use the reference. So when
can
you
I
got
just
the.
Can I do data.value.update, or
no?
Can I do it like this?
Wait. Let me look. So get var data doc.data total numbers equals data.value. Okay. And then what you would do is you need to be. I would just, if I'm my stupid mentality, I would do it this. You either need to get the reference again, or you need to do it the same way you have on line 3.
Okay.
Essentially, once. So that, well, you've already declared that, right? So
yeah,
you want to do FS counters collection. I guess you can do dot update. No, does that work?
Yeah, I think so. This will update it, but what will be the value? So I think I have to set the value.
It will be total numbers plus 1, right? You need to set a temporary variable.
Yeah,
so whatever the number was, we add 1.
Okay, so I need to do a total numbers plus 1, and then here it needs to be a total numbers, and then I have to update it. Okay, now this should work in theory. And now I have to return the total numbers.
I'm fairly sure we could have found this like in the Roe documentation, but I'm glad we did it together. It was a fun experience.
Yeah, I will see if it's working. But do I need to return actually something? Do you think that this is expecting to return integer? Do you know that? Because
it will,
here I'm updating the value. This
yeah.
line over here should update the value, and here in theory I should not. This return I don't need it in theory. I think so. Not sure.
Okay.
So, but I think okay, it's not complaining. So okay, so it should be like that. So what I did here is that I have a total numbers of 0. I'm getting the total numbers of 0 because this is my default value. So it's getting, if it's getting no or something like that, I will get a default value of 0. So then I will have the collection, I have the document, and I have the data. So if this document is empty, I will get.
Ali says he tried it without return and it doesn't work.
Okay, so let me try with the return and then total, because I don't get any errors, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'll try without the return because I don't get any errors. I'll just be wild. And yeah, so I have the total numbers, which is actually the data value. In this case, it's 3. So I'm adding 1 to it. So it's 4. And it's assigning this, as I said last time or the time before that, the code is read from right to left. So this one will be 4, and it's getting the total number will be 4. And then I'm assigning the data value to 4, and then I'm updating the value. So this should work, but we'll see.
Shit.
If it will work. And now it's deploying, and you said that the second time you deploy it will be faster, so let's see.
Hopefully, let's see if I was telling the truth. We'll see. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it should, right now it's 3. So in theory, when I create a new user, when I register a new user, this should be changed to 4.
I'm not sure. I'm betting on me. I'm betting. Well, I have confidence in you. Not sure.
We'll see if I get the code right. Right now it's 3, as you can see over here, and it should be, after that should be 4. So it's on line 20 right now.
One of their examples uses OpenAI for
really?
They have an example of using a API code and OpenAI to extract to natural language processing.
OpenAI actually is very strong with regarding this. And if you really wrote something like, I don't know if I can show it right now, but yeah, if you have the code from here, for example, if you have this code over here, and you are wondering what will be the line 4, how to get a document, basically what I will do, I showed that before, but basically what I will do is I will just delete everything, just delete everything to the bottom, including this over here, the line 13, and I will just write to get the document from, and I'll just write the name of the collection. And I think OpenAI will produce this code as well, the same code that I wrote. Yeah, it's still updating.
So I'm hoping we've convinced everyone here that they're super simple Cloud Functions, as long as you know JavaScript. If you don't, then you're screwed, because I could do this exact thing in Dart, but every time I Java, it's just like a mental block. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's not that difficult, and next time we can do some other tricks, because we already did like 2 hours now. We'll wait. We'll wait.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll wait to deploy it. Okay, now deployed, and we will test it out.
We'll work through. And I would encourage people to check out they have some really great demos in there, and you can actually look at how they're built. In Roe itself, which is probably what it was trying to suggest us when we signed up. But all I know, I have a few different functions that I just kind of copy paste, and they allow you to do a lot of cool stuff. If you're smarter than me, you will be able to do amazing stuff. But yeah, I'm please teach me, because Is that next week? You're going to teach me how to do more stuff.
Okay, it didn't work, but
Mhm.
it's because of the coding. I think something,
Yeah.
or maybe the return statement. But
Um,
because this is actually still 3
I'm having.
after I raise a new user.
Mhm.
You can see over here.
It's not run. And is that because
But yeah, we actually show that it's working in theory. We just have to manage the code. Maybe it's because I didn't return. I didn't
yeah, I'll
write
have
the
to.
return.
I'll get apologies for that. I will get a better example of we can post it of how to do this because I've already written this before. I just couldn't find it. So yeah, but to be continued.
Yeah, I think.
Thank
No,
you
I
to
think
all
I
of you who
think
stuck with
I
us.
think we can. I think we can just post the code after that, right?
We
Because
will. Yeah.
we already did it. We just need to polish the code and
Yeah,
it will
exactly.
work.
It's just some syntax thing. But hopefully you've, for all of those who've made it to this point, you've learned stuff. Ali said he still can't delete his Rowie app.
Do we want me
And
real quickly to just show him how to do it, or
no, I think he already did that. He said he did it and it didn't work. So Ali, I'll pick that up with you later. Yeah, I'll drop you a message, and we'll have a little chat once I get a glass of water. Thank you to everyone who came.
And before we go,
You've made it this long. Yeah.
before we go, just want to talk that next time we are live, we will talk about Rowie again and Firebase and MySQL. This is the plan, at least, and to talk about it, compare them together. So people can actually choose what is best for them to choose between those DBs, databases. So yeah, expect this in the next live session.
Thank you all, and boom.